jealousy, because I think it's something that people don't talk about in their friendship.
Yeah.
But me, one thing I like is honesty and reality.
Yeah.
Because we cannot all say that if you're working in a friendship group where people are doing this, like meeting, I don't even know, Obama and things, and then you are still meeting the corner shop guy behind your house. You are telling me that we thank God for you to start. It's true. So that's something that I feel like we should discuss for people as well. Like, how do they deal with jealousy? How do they handle those type of things? Because they're real things that you know.
Because that's something that people may not feel comfortable saying.
Yeah.
Like right now, I feel like it's like in your head you're thinking right now, I'm feeling envious right now, but God, please deal with it. But then at the same time, like discuss it with your friends.
Yeah, true.
What do you guys think of it?
For me, I just had to reject it immediately because the longer I let it, like my mind for me is something I overthink so much. So I know the kind of personality I have. If it has crept in any, like if I notice it in any little way, I have to reject it immediately. If not, it's going to just build up and build, and it's going to cause like a rift unnecessarily, and it will just blow up in a way that it doesn't even make sense. So that's how I definitely deal with it now within this friendship group. If there's any situation, I just choose to. Also, I've learned a lot from Gwen because Gwen is so good at celebrating friends. For real, she is the best cheerleader. No, seriously. And like just watching how she just forgets everything about herself, and like in the moment it's all about that person. So I'm like there's something in that, like that's such a beautiful spirit to have. And like watching that, I'm like, okay, I want to emulate that, because when you do forget yourself, you enjoy it more. When you're not comparing that, but this person is like, if I just had that exhibition, like what's going on with you? But like no, you enjoy like no, for real, no, but this was like in that moment, that's why I had so much fun, because it was all about Ife. I was like, I am so genuinely proud. And it makes you more of a genuine friend and person. You're not thinking like you become more selfless, and you put on that thing of the Holy Spirit about like really denying yourself and putting this person's feelings and their achievements instead, like before you. And in doing that, you don't realize the blessings that like without. And also, I think for me, I had to learn how to do that without the expectation of, okay, I'm doing this because of the blessing. And that's also how my mind will work. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna do this because I know God accepts it. This is what He likes. So I just immediately reject it. And also to touch on what Gwen was saying, being diligent in the little you have, it is so. I remember I was looking at a preaching by Pastor Mike Todd. I love him. If you guys know him, he's checking out.
See us, let us know.
Transformation to he's amazing. So
Come to the UK.
For preach at your church.
I want to preach.
Have a talk session.
For real. But like the preaching was about being marked, and he was talking about how David was anointed like years before he became king. But he still had to, imagine being anointed that they're going to tell you you're going to be king of this whole area, but you're still going back to the sheep and the goats. Like, that's what he was doing. Like, he wasn't even inside when they were trying to look for someone to anoint. They had to bring him in. After he got anointed, back to what you were doing, do you get? But he still continued being so diligent in doing that when he was called to the king's court to play music, because he was good at music. He was diligent in that. Like that also really is something I remember, that whatever little thing I have in my hands right now, I have to put everything into it. Whatever it is, even if it's like, okay, I don't know, anything that you made, that the world may like deem as like small or big, like when we're saying, like Mela said, you need to take it seriously, because there's a reason why God has placed it in your hands specifically, and so you have to nurture it as much as you possibly can. So that's something I remember all the time now. That at the same time, like firstly celebrating your friends for real with a genuine heart. For me, rejecting that jealousy immediately it's come, not wasting any time pondering. Pardon?
Would you tell you?
Would I tell my friends? It depends. Yeah, it depends. It depends. I feel like that's something that I have to consult the Holy Spirit with. Like if I'm noticing that, okay, I've rejected it, but I notice it keeps coming up, then I know that, okay, there's a problem here. I need to definitely be honest about this. But if it's something where I've rejected and it's like, okay, it's gone, then that's usually how it works. But it could work, like Holy Spirit is very sporadic. So whatever he says. But yeah, so it actually does depend. But yeah, that's usually how I go about it in terms of dealing with like jealousy and envy.
Have you guys had to like deal with it? Have you to deal with jealousy?
It's not one of those for me.
It's
like
not,
I've
not
obviously felt it before, but it's something that like I've obviously felt jealous, but it's not it's not the one that gets me.
Right.
Like, I feel like there's certain things that get me. Jealousy is not one of them.
Right.
Not to say that my friends don't make me, like, not to say that they're not doing things that are like, oh, whoa, no, they're doing great things. They're doing fantastic, bro, mind blowing.
Right.
It's just, I don't, yeah. Yeah, but just to add on to what Tolu said about jealousy and actually like shutting it down immediately. When jealousy is like any other sin. Like once you've let it in, you've given the devil a foothold in your life, and he will then that small just feeling. He will then start to flood you with lies. You're not good enough. You're not this. You're not that. You need to shut it down because that's not the only. That's just one sin, but once his foothold is in, he can invite other stuff and you don't want that. And he's a liar. So as soon as you've heard, I'm not good enough, you need to be like, this isn't true. God says I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am a masterpiece. You need to shut it down with the truth that is the word. So don't forget that. And because I don't forget it, that's what gets me through. Like not necessarily with jealousy, but just in terms of like, this is where I am. And I know I can be so much more. What is going on? And it's like, it's just, I'm more impatient than jealous. Like, I'm just like, when is it going to be my time? I'm tired of surviving. I want to be excellent. And I'm just, like, it's not, I will see someone else being excellent. And I'm just like, is that jealousy? And I'm just like, when am I going to be excellent? I'm more impatient of the fact that my thing is taking so long, more than just like, I want to be like them. Like I try not to compare myself to other people because I'm trying to compare myself to myself. Like, am I the best I can be? Like, what would the best if I have done in that situation? I didn't do that. Are you kidding me? Why didn't I do that? Like, that's how I am. So if I'm jealous, it's with my, this sounds so, what's that word when you're obsessed with yourself? Narcissistic. Well, it's true. That's what I do. Like, yeah. And then the other thing, if I can remember, we're talking about jealousy. Wow, I forgot. What we're talking about it comes back.
Retention.
Huh?
Retention.
Yeah, memory retention. God,
But going off what Tolu said about David and how he was anointed to be, do you understand that? Okay, how he was anointed to be king. You mentioned earlier on as well about David and Jonathan and their friendship, and obviously we know that Jonathan was Saul's son. So if you think about it now, if like the king steps down or the king dies, the son should get kingship straight away, basically. But back in the day in the Old Testament, obviously they anointed, so David was anointed, and they were best friends. But Jonathan didn't allow jealousy to creep in.
Wow.
Jonathan celebrated David. Jonathan even helped David in his most vulnerable times, like near-death situations. He made sacrifices. So these are all things that we've literally mentioned. So I feel like Jonathan and David just friendship. Definition of friendship, like literally friendship goals. Like he made sacrifices, he was loyal, like he was supportive. All these things were things that Jonathan did for David, and at the same time he helped him get to his life goal. So when it comes to does friendship help you get to your life goal, I do agree with you guys as well, because he knew that David was anointed as king, and although his father opposed that, he didn't step with his father. He stepped away from his father into God's purpose for his friend. And he allowed himself to be used by God to elevate his friend. And it's just amazing to see their friendship, and it's just amazing to see such an example of, because Jonathan could have had the characteristics of his father. His father was a very jealous guy, very jealous person, and his jealousy even turned into bitterness, even to the point where he's trying to kill the boy. Come on. And it's like Jonathan could have had those same characteristics, but he didn't. He instead had characteristics that could help David, reach his life-giving goal. And and even if you read later on, it talks about how after Jonathan passed away, he had a son, and this son was like crippled, I think, and he lived in a palace, but then they kicked him out of the palace or something like that, and he ended up living in the pastures. And David was like, is there anyone from Jonathan's descendants that I could bless, like that I could like, you know, show my kindness to, because Jonathan showed kindness to me. And he went to look for Jonathan's son, and he brought him back to the palace, like from pasture to palace. So it's like your friendship, like it's generational. Do you know what I mean? It's generational. It's like you were saying earlier on how someone will call you and be like, I'm babysitting Tony's kids. Like, you know what I mean? And it's generational, and it's just something. These are the sort of things that we need to keep in mind and we need to consider, really. Do you still remember what you were gonna say? Did I say it?
Yeah, but it's kind of going backtracking. So did you want to say something?
I was just gonna stress like the importance of not comparing. Like, I think if we were to turn around and look at our friendship, it became its strongest so far when we were each secure in our identities with Christ. Point blank. Like when we're saying about not being able to, like, not looking left or right, like if you take the David and Jonathan example, Jonathan, his purpose and what God put him here for might have been to elevate David. Now, if he thought that his purpose was going to be David, that's when he would have had an issue. But because he was secure in whatever his purpose was supposed to be, he didn't have to look left or right. And I think being okay with that is so important, and that's how you manage to avoid things like jealousy or whatever. Like, obviously we're all human, so sometimes things can creep up, but like for me, like at some point, I don't want to get into it in my life. Got it. No, it's okay, I'll say it. Like for me, like say if you take the example of Gwen being in her job right now, I've never aspired to be in the bank. I hate mathematics. It's never been my aspiration. So for Gwen to get in the bank and all of a sudden for me to be like, oh, okay, well, where's my job in the bank? Where did it come from? It doesn't make sense. Like those things don't overlap. So sometimes like reminding yourself of, okay, what were my dreams? Because like I was saying, okay, you aspire to be in the bank. Now God has fulfilled your things. You yourself, like, okay, I'm talking. If I've aspired to say my dream is to do a PhD, how can I turn around and say, yo, God, where's my job in the bank? It's supposed to stay in school. Like not being confused that your steps look different. And I think people struggle with what happens if my purpose doesn't look like what other people's purposes around me look like. It's not everybody who's supposed to start a business. If you're not a business person, you're not a business, and that's fine. Like, if you're around people who make you feel like your dreams are too small or insignificant, get me friends. Point blank. Like, it's the only other option. Because at the end of the day, like what I'm saying, we have no understanding of where God puts us, the kind of effect that we can have. Someone can be at the top of the company and have no friends, no one wants to listen to them, they're not respected. Meanwhile, the person who's at the bottom fetching coffees, everyone's like, oh my gosh, that person's so great. And they want to talk to them. So like staying firm in that is so important. With the jealousy thing as well, I would say sometimes praying for that person, like just straight up turning around and getting on your knees. And praying until you don't feel it anymore. It's not wrong for you to have initially thought, okay, you're human, that's fine. But how you deal with that is now the challenge. You have to call up the person you're feeling some type of way about and say, can I pray? They don't have to know that, I'm feeling jealous. That's not their business. But like, just like, I want to pray with you over your new job, or I want to pray with you over your company, until you can switch that mindset. Because the mind is such a scary thing. And when you keep things in there, it's only you who's dealing with them. And we talked about how friends are important for you to be able to, when you can't talk yourself out and you're not listening to the Holy Spirit to allow him to talk you out of it, having different voices speaking to you is so important.
100%. I definitely agree with the praying thing, because a similar thing happened whereby my really close friend called me, so then we had like the issue of like jealousy, and then us praying together was like very important. Like it really, really helped. And
with what Camilla was saying, I agree with it, because if you're not careful when you're comparing yourself, you can end up tracking into the wrong will for you,
Yeah.
the wrong will that God has for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, oh, this
Inspiration.
I want to do this.
Yeah.
Like God, now I want to do this. But God's will for you is completely different. God's will for you might be what you were doing, but now like you're thinking someone else has inspired you to do something else. But really and
So
truly,
true.
really and truly, you're just trying to sugarcoat the thing and like
Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely.
That's so
agree.
Yeah, 100%. I think one thing that most Christians forget is when you're happy for someone, like you don't know what it does to the devil, his side chicks, his sisters, his cousins, his brothers, his enemies, his extended family. You're literally like, it's like you're telling him far, far away, because it's like you're not doing the norm. Like you're not doing the norm to him. Like he's like, why are you happy for the friend? Like he's probably planned X, Y, Z, but you're doing ABC. He's very, very lost. So I think when you are happy for someone and it's genuine, first of all, the devil starts to run away. First of all, it draws God closer to you. Because when you have a cheerful heart, it's a good it's a good ground for God to put dreams in your heart, for you to hear God, for you to just do what God is pushing you to do. And when you're happy for someone, God knows that I can trust you with the law. I can trust you with the law when you're genuinely happy for someone. And personally, like what Olu was saying, that I know one of my strengths is when someone tells me something, immediately, I don't even think about it twice. I literally start screaming. And that's my that's my reflection zone that lies everything I'm screaming in your ear that I am happy for this person. So that's taking myself out of Gwen and being the best that Gwen can be and being what God wants me to be in that person's life, because they're not telling me for me to be jealous, they're telling me to celebrate. Why am I doing otherwise? Why am I doing otherwise? That's not right. So I think it's very important. Like you have to know certain things that quickly sees the things. If it's screaming, if it's start jumping, whatever it is that makes the devil just scatter, confuse everything, you need to do it. Mine is screaming. I just start screaming and just be happy for the person generally. And I think it's that type of thing that you have to pray for. You have to work at it. Like it's not all the time that you be screaming. Sometimes I scream when I don't feel like screaming, but I get there. You get there. Like you continue doing it. At the end of the day, God knows your heart that you want it, so He will give it to you. You want to be happy for the person, so He will give it to you. Exactly.
For sure.
It's hard.
No, real.
I remembered my point, and I'm gonna say it because it really helped me. So basically, there's a story in the Bible about the walls of Jericho. And there was an army, I don't know who was led by, I can't remember right now, and they were marching. God told them to march around the walls of Jericho 7 times, because this was the place that they were supposed to like defeat and everything. And the leader of the army had to tell the rest of the army, we're not going to fight with our spears and our shields. No. We're gonna walk. And like normally, like if you tell your army this, they're gonna be like, I'm leaving this army because we're gonna die. They're gonna get their arrow and they're gonna kill us. It's over. But they did it with such like trust in God that He's seen us through before. He's gonna see us through this time. If He tells me to even kiss the stone, I'll kiss the stone. Do you get? Like they walked around the walls of Jericho seven times for 7 days. And like I assume Jericho was not a small place. It's probably like quite big. So to walk around 7 times, at one point you're probably like, I'm actually tired. They did not. They're like, when you're running your race, you can't run your race being like, I'm tired. You have to run your race with perseverance and diligence. Otherwise, God is going to be like, you can't handle it when I put you in the place where you're supposed to be. You won't be able to do it. And it's like, when the walls of Jericho fell down, they did not just fall down. When rubble falls down, it can make it impossible for you to actually enter the place. They fell down in a specific way for them, you know, like a ladder, that's how it fell. That's when you know God is working. So it's very, very important that when you're running your race or doing what God has told you on the path to where He wants you to be, that your heart condition is right and that you do what He says, not as a suggestion, but as as a command, because they're different things. A suggestion is maybe do it. A command is do it now. And I just rate the army because like I know myself. I would have been like, I'm thirsty. I'm tired. Can we take a break? Like those ones, they did it. Still, they were still going, and God showed up for them. Like it was so easy. One person would have just groaned, like, and it would have been over. The walls of Jericho would have been fallen, and it would have been awkward. It would be like, yeah. So I think like in terms of running your race and like walking on the path that God has set for you, they weren't looking like, oh, but that army did that. Why aren't we doing that? That army, God has told. What are you even thinking about the other army? Yeah. Walk along the walls of Jericho and stop thinking about other. Like it's a nice reminder for me because I'm like, yeah, I have to just do what he says, and if I groan, it's awkward because he's like, you're not trusting me. Okay, like, yeah. So
just
I use that.
kind of combine what both Camilla and Ife were saying in terms of the power of prayer as well as like really trusting. There's this shirt that my mom always used to wear that said push, pray until something happens. So I love that because like that just came to my mind that you really like we sometimes like I know I neglect the power of prayer. We discussed it here amongst us, but really praying away like a certain feeling, if you know it's a negative feeling, this is not of God, praying it away like consistently, even if it's not okay in that moment. Even just in that moment for me just brings me peace. I know prayer always just gives you peace. I just feel like okay, it's better even if it's not gone away completely. I know that okay, I need to be more consistent. So really pushing forward like as hard as like I've been so blessed right now with what you guys are saying because I genuinely really needed to hear that. So it's like just being consistent. I think that's something I struggle with because my faith life was so up and down for a long time until I made that like decision at one point that okay, I really can't like I'm not messing around with this anymore. So yeah, that was just like the word I wanted to add in to you guys.
Prayer changes hearts. It does. And celebrating your friends changes your heart. You might be feeling some kind of way in the beginning. By the time you've been like, hey, your heart is like, oh, okay, I'm feeling happy.
It does.
Like it lets go of any like like because we're not meant to have that.
No,
like, we're not
it's
meant
not.
to have that. It's not God wants us to have it.
100%.
So we're gonna play a little game just to end the conversation. And basically in this board there are questions that each of my lovely ladies here have written down with answers, and they're basically gonna ask each other just to see if they know their friends well, because you know, knowing your friends was one of their points, guys. So and they said it. So
if we get things wrong, I need you all to remember forgiveness is such a big part with friends.
That's
you don't forgive, then you mess up your own relationship with God. Be careful.
Are you trying to say something?
Huh? If I foreshadow like
You guys are not serious.
There's nobody's getting offended here. We have love in our heart. That's right. Well, that's right. Jesus
We
Christ.
do, but get it wrong and we'll see.
how many times did you forgive? 70 times 7.
So this question is from Tolu, to you all, and it's what's my all-time favorite TV show?
Friends? One Tree Hill. Friends?
Hey.
Yeah.
No, Grey's Anatomy.
This is Friends. This is Friends.
I love You got
Jesus.
it.
I was gonna say that.
No, it's okay.
Everybody has been talking. You don't think. People talk.
You know what, yeah?
I just think
Right.
Yes,
Well done. So by now you know, like this.
I know. I knew it was crazy.
I just feel like
It's just, you know, like Friends is like
No, yeah, no, I
Friends
understand.
and God.
Those are two
And the
very
topic
good
is Friends.
Yeah.
So the thing just entered my mind.
Okay, this is a question from Gwen. What year did I move into this country?
Why would you put that on? 2009.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Got one right. Keeping your friends.
There's another question as well. What phone do I use?
Currently.
Who said that from when?
Yeah,
iPhone X! iPhone X! I say, and you not because you already warned us. It's gonna
I'm
be
so
a bit
sorry,
hard.
guys.
Hey, this is it.
Don't read
This
it.
is an essay.
It's
Right.
not.
What is one thing I want to be able to do in my Christian walk?
Radio show.
No, build a charity in
It's my most
radio show,
recent
radio show.
inspiration.
Radio show.
Go to Canada. Wait,
Mm.
it's
Let's
build a mental home.
Speak.
Build a mental home in Africa. Build a mental home in Africa.
Is it the radio show?
Which one?
She was the one. She said that. No. She said that. No. She knows.
Guys, I know.
Oh,
Wait.
God.
She said that on. I remember the context. Everything was my birthday. You said it. She said
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Oh no, relax. She said that on her page. She wants there to be Camilla walks on water. So I remember.
Yeah,
It just didn't come to light at the time.
No, yeah.
Your recent
We know
one.
that.
She wants to stop being someone who walks through the water and be someone who walks on it.
Amen.
Oh,
That's such a
amen.
beautiful. That's such a good quote.
That is really
Like,
good.
It's too short.
Google should better grab this quote. Google better grab it and
I love that.
put it everywhere.
Vanessa. Vanessa is our friend.
It's
She's part of
true.
our group, but she's
Yeah.
just not here at the moment.
Yeah. Just
How would I describe my style?
Chic.
Comfortable.
Comfortable chic.
Yeah.
Comfortable chic.
Trendy.
no, it's not.
You're very poetic
Trendy.
justice E. Yeah, oh, that's right?
No.
She's behind the camera by the way.
So we look crazy.
How many words are there?
3.
Can I just look?
So we got comfortable.
I think
Yeah.
I saw older.
Chic.
I see, yeah, it says older.
What are you reading?
Chic.
She confessed.
Chic is
I got
definitely
one now. Trendy, relaxed, chilled.
Yes.
Oh,
Hey,
chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the difference between comfortable
What
and
am I
chill?
doing right now? What am I doing right now?
She'll be dancing.
Do it to do 3 C's.
Comfortable,
What
chill.
am I doing?
And older.
Laid back.
Laid back. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
right.
did we get it right?
Yes.
Is there still more?
That is
That's
3.
it.
That's it.
There's a second question from Vanessa
Oh,
as
that's
well.
the icon. Okay.
If I was to have a sibling, would I want them to be older or younger?
Older.
Yeah.
That's right.
Correct. So we've got another question from Camilla.
Was that your husband, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, so before I used to know God properly, if someone asked me a deep question about myself, how did I used to respond?
You don't
Tell
answer.
them.
You don't answer.
Or she-
You say awkwardly.
Catchphrase. Well, not catchphrase, but what did
There
I
was
say?
a,
If someone
there
asks
is
me
a
deep question.
phrase.
You used to say a lot of
You're
weird
asking me a
things.
deep
Camilla.
question.
And then what did you
Is it
say?
psych? Is it nah?
You return the question.
Scheme?
You laugh. Hello. You just
Hello,
sit
my
there.
friend.
You're like, this is awkward.
Orcs.
You're like,
You're asking me a deep
You can answer,
question.
Vanessa.
What did I used
No.
to say?
How many words?
4.
Or-
This isn't happening.
The first one is
I love you, but it's not happening. I don't do deep.
There we go.
Yeah. Nice one.
I'm lucky I don't do this.
This is another question from Tolu. Who is my favorite Bible character?
David.
Who I pray. Let me finish the question.
Vanessa?
Wait, the question hasn't finished.
Who is my favorite Bible character? Who I pray my future husband is modeled after?
David.
That's it.
Correct.
I like that.
Ife has a question for you all, and it says, what do I do when I am facing temptation?
I told
Pray.
you in a voice.
Pray.
You pray.
Yeah, that's one. That's 3.
You speak out.
Yes! Yeah, sorry. There's only you guys aren't gonna get this one.
What you pray?
You go for a run.
No.
You call someone.
Worship
No.
Read the Bible.
Music really is it.
music. Okay.
You listen to music.
Worship.
You
No,
sing.
no.
You perform
You
a
sing,
concert.
okay.
You for
That's
sure.
really what happened.
That makes me happy.
Correct.
I
Preach
love
to
that.
myself, sing aloud, and pray. Amen, hallelujah.
I love
Guys,
that.
that's a tip for y'all.
Yeah.
This It's another question from Gwen.
This one has scribbled.
Hey.
This one's very.
This is all very difficult.
Free it. It's okay. Good night. Let's go. Let's end it.
Remember, we love you.
Wait.
We don't get this
She
one.
can't
Just
even
say
read
the
the
question, man.
handwriting.
If you don't get this one, what happens?
That's the answer
To
to
a
it.
friend. Say the question and then just say
Look
the
at the
thing.
group chat. When
If
we run as
it's
well.
your
I'm
dad's
like,
name,
chat.
we know him as Mr. Brown.
I can't read
So
this.
please don't.
Come.
I think we haven't asked your dad's name, man.
How many siblings?
Come.
We
You
already
read
discussed.
it. You read it.
What country am I patriotic about?
Ghana.
New York.
Get
Lord,
out.
Ghana.
It's a state. It's a state. Everyone's confused.
You must be like, I don't understand how. Tell me when.
I know this answer.
Wow.
How can you say America, New York?
I got one more question from Ife. What is one of my favorite scriptures and songs?
I didn't write an answer.
So maybe you guys may know for her, you know?
New one. That's a new song.
Yeah, that's any favorite scene.
Scripture. In scripture. You are blessed. The children blessing. The scripture. You are blessed.
And highly favored.
I can go to Christ who strengthens me.
God is
The
the
spirit in me is stronger than the one outside of me.
Are you just saying
No,
scripture?
I did that
One
one.
of these is wrong.
The spirit in me is stronger than the one outside of me.
I like that one, but it's not one of my
I
favorites.
can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
I like that one too, but it's not one of my
She's
favorites.
blessed because she believed.
I like that one, but it's not one of my favorites.
Cast your cares.
Naji.
It is good.
Should I give you a hint?
Oh, okay.
There's one in Joshua. There's one in
Oh, Joshua 1:9.
8.
Okay, 1:8.
Yeah, okay, we
What
good.
does it say?
Be strong and courageous.
And it says, keep the word of the Lord always on your tongue.
Meditate it all day and night. I told you that's the verse that my father told me.
And I know.
Yeah.
That's why I knew that one of you would get something.
Yeah. Joshua 1:8. Everybody go and read it.
It's
That's
really
how you
good.
become rich. Wow, I love it.
Tips from Mr. Brown.
There'll be a whole episode on that.
I'll never forget that verse.
Which verse was it?
Joshua
1:8.
1:8.
I see. The hint was I sent you a picture of my wall with my thingies. I've sent that to you. Did you read
Oh,
it?
that's what you meant. Man.
Since then,
We've done exams. People have started.
Wait, is it the
jobs.
wall there? Yeah, it says Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for availing yourselves and for allowing God to use you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gwen. You know, you're the plug. Guys, networking. Friendship for networking, like seriously. This is an example of itself. So I'm really grateful to you guys for your time, your energy, and your sacrifice as well. I know you probably had plans and like it was hard to juggle this, but we made it. We made it and we've done it, and we thank God for that. And stay tuned for more videos, and I hope you keep watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please subscribe.
Oh, is the
Yeah.
box is
Whichever way it is.